Lagos was full of lights, music, and secret stories. But one story would shake everything around. Two best friends, Amaka and Rebecca. They had been friends since university, sharing everything: food, clothes, secrets, even dreams of marrying rich men and living in Banana Island one day. But what Rebecca did would break that friendship forever. Amaka was the gentle and quiet one. She was kind, respectful, and always loyal. She came from a humble family in Enugu and moved to Lagos to chase her dream of working in a media company. She finally got a good job in Ikeja and met a rich man named Henry, who later became her husband. Henry owned three car dealerships and was known all over Lagos for his money and good looks. He was tall, dark, and charming. Every woman wanted him, but he chose Amaka. Everyone thought she was lucky. Rebecca, on the other hand, was the wild one: loud, pretty, and always the life of the party. She had sugar daddies here and there, and she loved fast money. But deep down, she was jealous of Amaka. She couldn't understand why a calm girl like Amaka had a rich husband, while she was still hopping from one hotel to another looking for rich men. Amaka loved Rebecca like a sister. When she got married to Henry, she made Rebecca her maid of honor. After marriage, she still invited Rebecca to her house almost every weekend. Rebecca would laugh, eat their food, and even stay over sometimes. Amaka never suspected anything, but Rebecca had a plan, a terrible plan. One Saturday night, when Amaka traveled for a company's retreat in Abuja, she asked Rebecca to help watch the house. She trusted her best friend more than anyone else. Henry was also at home that night. That was when everything changed. Rebecca dressed in a small satin gown and walked around the house like it was hers. Henry, who had just returned from a business meeting, was tired. He didn't expect to see Rebecca in such an outfit. He tried to ignore her, but she kept talking, laughing, and touching him unnecessarily. He warned her to behave, but Rebecca was not the type to stop once she started. She whispered lies about Amaka, saying she had seen her with another man and that she didn't deserve him. At first, Henry pushed her away, but Rebecca didn't stop. She made his favorite drink, played romantic music, and told him how much she admired him. That night, something bad happened between them. It was not love, it was a mistake, but it was a mistake that would soon grow into something bigger. When Amaka returned, Rebecca acted normal, even hugged her and said welcome. Henry couldn't sleep well after that night. He avoided eye contact with Rebecca, but she kept visiting. She acted like nothing happened. 3 weeks later, she called Henry and told him something that shook him. I'm pregnant, and it's yours. Henry's heart nearly stopped. He begged her to keep quiet and not destroy his home. But Rebecca was tired of being the side girl. She wanted more. She told Henry she had a plan. He would leave Amaka and marry her instead. Henry refused. He told her to go far away and never come back. But Rebecca was not done. She sent a message to Amaka, a simple text that read, Your husband is the father of my unborn child. Ask him. Amaka was at work when she saw it. Her hands started shaking. She thought it was a joke. But when she got home and asked Henry, his silence said it all. Tears filled her eyes as she screamed. The man she loved and her own best friend. How could they? Henry tried to explain, but it didn't help. Rebecca posted pictures of her baby bump on Instagram with captions like, God has blessed me. The worst part, she tagged Amaka in the post. Amaka left the house and went to stay with her elder sister in Surulere. Henry went around looking for her. He was ashamed. He said he didn't love Rebecca, that it was just a one-time mistake, but the damage was done. Meanwhile, Rebecca was enjoying the attention. People started following her, gossiping about her online. Some called her a homewrecker, others called her smart. She didn't care. She liked the fame. But one day, something strange happened. Rebecca fainted in a boutique in Lekki when she was rushed to the hospital. The doctors ran tests and told her shocking news. Madam, the doctor said, you are not pregnant. What do you mean? She asked, confused. I've missed my period for 2 months. The doctor smiled. That can happen for many reasons. Stress, hormones. But from all tests, there is no baby. Rebecca stood there, shocked and speechless. The doctor gave her the full results. She had imagined the pregnancy because she was desperate to keep hearing there was never a baby. She ran out of the hospital crying. She didn't know what to do next. She had already posted online, shamed her best friend, and destroyed a marriage, all for a pregnancy that didn't exist. Amaka found that through a blog post. Someone had recorded Rebecca crying at the hospital, and the video went viral. The caption read, no baby, no shame. Amaka returned home, but she was not the same again. She told Henry that even though the baby wasn't real, the betrayal was. She filed for divorce and focused on her career. Rebecca lost everything. The fame turned into shame. Her followers mocked her. She tried to beg Amaka, but it was too late. But the story didn't end there. A few months later, Henry's company was investigated for tax fraud. It was discovered that someone had reported him anonymously that same week. Rebecca was seen entering EFCC headquarters. Who really set him up? Was it revenge? Or was someone else pulling the strings? After Henry was dragged in for questioning by the EFCC, his reputation began to fall like rain in the middle of Lagos traffic. His company's name was everywhere online. Blogs started writing headlines like "Car Mogul" in EFCC nets, and Henry, husband of a viral pregnancy scandal, under fire. He couldn't sleep. His businesses were frozen. Friends stopped picking his calls. Everything was happening too fast. He began to wonder who reported him. He thought of Rebecca. That girl had nothing to lose. She was bitter and reckless. Maybe she wanted revenge for the way he dumped her after the fake pregnancy scandal. But something didn't add up. Rebecca was too loud to plan something so smart and quiet. Someone else was behind it. Meanwhile, Amaka had started working with a non-governmental organization that helped young girls in secondary schools. She was healing slowly with the help of her sister Shoma. But what people didn't know was that Shoma had always disliked Henry. From the day he proposed, she suspected he wasn't as clean as he looked. She once worked with someone who warned her that Henry's company did shady deals. Shoma had contacts. When Amaka moved in with her, Shoma quietly made calls, gathered documents, and hired a private investigator. The moment she discovered the tax fraud, she didn't say a word to Amaka. She simply sent the files to the EFCC. It was Shoma, not Rebecca, who exposed Henry. She believed it was justice for breaking her sister's heart. She smiled silently as she watched the news. Back to Rebecca. After the hospital drama, things went downhill. Her landlord evicted her for unpaid rent. Her followers unfollowed her in droves. She tried to become a YouTuber, but her videos had more dislikes than views. People only wanted gist from her, not advice. The fame she once enjoyed had turned sour. One night, she went live on Instagram and cried. I know I messed up, she said, sniffing. But I was just tired of being poor. I didn't mean to hurt Amaka. I just wanted a better life. The comment section was brutal. Shut up, homebreaker. You see your life now. Go and beg your bestie. After the live video, Rebecca switched off her phone and cried all night. Nobody wanted her now, not even her old sugar daddies. They had moved on to younger girls. She was left with nothing but shame. Then something unexpected happened. One of Henry's former business partners, Mr. Kelvin, reached out to her. He invited her to a meeting at a restaurant in Ikoyi. Rebecca was surprised but curious. When she arrived, Mr. Kevin welcomed her politely. He was older, rich, and respected. "I've been following your story," he said, sipping his wine. "You made a lot of noise, young lady, but I like people who are not afraid to check things." Rebecca looked confused. "Sir, are you insulting me or complimenting me?" He laughed. "A bit of both. But listen, I have a proposal for you. You have followers. You are known. I want you to help me bring Henry down completely. He scammed me in a car deal, and I want revenge." Rebecca blinked. "I already lost everything because of him. What else can I do?" Mr. Kelvin leaned closer. "Everything. You know where he hides documents, his secrets, his movements. Help me finish him, and I'll pay you well. Clean money. No stress." Rebecca looked down. This could be her way to rise again. But should she betray Henry more than she already had? She agreed. That week, she began sending Mr. Kelvin voice notes, copies of old emails, even recordings she had secretly made when she visited Henry's office. She exposed deals that even EFCC hadn't seen yet. Within 2 weeks, Henry was hit with more charges. His passport was seized, his luxury cars were impounded. Even his close friends avoided him. Amaka, hearing the news, felt a strange mix of satisfaction and sadness. She didn't want revenge, she just wanted peace. But her sister Shoma told her something that changed everything. "Do you remember when you were dating Henry and you used to get strange phone calls at night?" Shoma asked one morning. "Yes," Amaka said. "He used to say it was business." "Well," Shoma said, opening her phone, "I found out who one of those numbers belonged to. It was your former university roommate, Ngozi." Amaka's mouth dropped open. "Ngozi? But she was my friend too." "Exactly," Shoma said. "And she's now married to one of Henry's suppliers. That's how Henry met Rebecca, through Ngozi." Amaka couldn't believe it. Her circle of friends had betrayed her from all angles. She was surrounded by snakes pretending to love her. Meanwhile, Henry was sitting alone in a prison cell. He had lost everything: his business, his wife, his reputation. He wrote a letter to Amaka, apologizing and asking for forgiveness. He even wrote one to Rebecca, warning her to change her life before she also landed in prison. But Rebecca was far gone. She used the money Mr. Kevin gave her to start a lifestyle blog and rebranded herself as the real Lagos girl. People slowly started following her again. She posted pictures of herself smiling, wearing new clothes, pretending the past never happened. But one day, while hosting a YouTube Q&A, someone asked her life, "Why did you lie about being pregnant for your bestie's husband?" She froze. The comments started flooding in again. Old videos were dug up, memes were made, the internet never forgets. She ended the life and cried in her bathroom. No matter how she tried to rebrand, her past followed her like a shadow. Back in Surulere, Amaka had started dating again. Her new man, Dakbo, was gentle, humble, and worked as a software engineer. He didn't have fancy cars, but he gave her peace. And for the first time in years, Amaka felt like she could breathe. But one afternoon, as she scrolled through Instagram, she saw a message request. It was from Rebecca. "Please, Amaka, can we talk?" Amaka stared at the message. Her hands shook. Should she reply? Should she forgive? Or should she block her forever? She closed the app and looked out the window. Lagos was still noisy, still fast, still full of stories. But this story wasn't over yet. Amaka thought about Rebecca's message all day. She'd even had dreams about her. In one dream, she saw Rebecca crying in a white wrapper with no shoes, begging for mercy in the middle of a market. Amaka woke up sweating. She didn't know what to do. Later that evening, she finally replied with two words: where and when. Rebecca sent the address of a small cafe in Yaba. Amaka told Dapo about the meeting. He didn't try to stop her, but he warned her to stay careful. If she starts with drama, walk away, he said. Amaka nodded. The next morning, she wore a simple blue dress and tied her braids neatly. She took a boat and arrived at the cafe on time. Rebecca was already there, looking different. She had lost weight, her makeup was light, and she looked tired. When Amaka sat down, there was silence for almost 1 full minute. Then Rebecca spoke. I'm sorry, she said. Her voice shook. I know sorry is not enough, but I want to say it anyway. Amaka folded her arms. Why now? Rebecca sighed. Because I lost everything, even my pride. You are the only real friend I had. I betrayed you, lied, and made you look like a fool. Amaka stayed silent. Rebecca continued. The pregnancy was fake. I was desperate. I thought if I had Henry's child, my life would change, but it destroyed me instead. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She didn't wipe them. I didn't just lose you, she added. I lost myself. Amaka leaned back. You were like my sister, Rebecca. I welcomed you into my home. I trusted you with my husband. And you turned around and slept with him. Rebecca nodded slowly. I know that guilt eats me every day. The waiter came and dropped 2 glasses of water. Rebecca picked hers, took a sip, and continued. I've been seeing a counselor, she said. I'm trying to become a better person. I've stopped chasing fake life. I even joined the Bible study group. Amaka raised her eyebrow. Seriously? Rebecca nodded. Yes, the old me would like to make you pity me, but not today. I just wanted to tell you this face to face. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just want peace. Amaka looked at her. For the first time, she saw not the flashy girl from Instagram, but a broken girl who lost herself while chasing what wasn't hers. After a long pause, Amaka said, I don't hate you, Rebecca, but I can't trust you again. Maybe with time, that will change. Maybe not. Rebecca nodded. That's fair. They both stood up. No hugs, no fake smiles, just a quiet end to a messy friendship. As Amaka left, she felt a strange relief. Not joy, not anger, just peace. She walked to the roadside, took a keke, and smiled faintly as the breeze hit in her face. Meanwhile, Dapo was planning something big. He had been saving money and talking to Amaka's sister secretly. One evening, while Amaka was returning from work, Dapo invited her to dinner. It was at a rooftop restaurant in Victoria Island. The table was set with candles and soft music playing. Amaka didn't suspect anything, but when Dapo stood up, went on one knee, and opened a small box, her eyes widened. Amaka, he said with a steady voice, you've been through pain, betrayal, and storms, but through it all, you've remained strong and beautiful. I may not be a millionaire, but I promise you peace, love, and honesty. Will you marry me? Tears filled Amaka's eyes for a few seconds. She said nothing. Then she whispered, yes. Everyone around clapped. Dapo stood up and hugged her tightly. It felt like the beginning of something new. News spread fast. Blogs who once reported her sad story now posted Heartbreak Queen finds love again. Rebecca saw the news and smiled. It hurt, but she was happy for Amaka. She knew she didn't deserve to be part of her joy, but she hoped from afar. Henry, still in court battles, saw the same news on his phone in the prison waiting area. He stared at it for a long time. A tear rolled down his cheek. Not for the lost marriage, but for the man he used to be before. Greed and lust consumed him. Months passed. Amaka and Dapo had a small classy wedding in Ibadan. She didn't invite Rebecca, but she didn't block her either. Life moved on. Rebecca later got a job as a receptionist in a tech company. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work. She stopped chasing fake life and focused on healing. One Sunday, as Amaka and Dapo walked out of church hand in hand, Amaka saw a familiar figure across the road. It was Rebecca, carrying her Bible, walking alone. Their eyes met. Rebecca gave a small wave and continued walking. Amaka watched her and smiled. Some stories don't need revenge. Some friendships end in fire, others in silence. But one thing was clear: Amaka had survived. Not just the betrayal, not just the lies, but the worst kind of heartbreak. The one that comes from someone who once held your secrets. And now, she was finally free. 6 months after Amaka and Dapo's wedding, life was calm and sweet. They moved into a quiet estate in Aja. Amaka changed her last name officially. She even started a women's support group called The Real Worth of a Woman, where she helped young girls avoid toxic relationships and fake friendships. But peace didn't last forever. One evening, while Dapo was working on a new tech project, Amaka's phone rang. The number was hidden. She picked up. Hello? Silence. Then a shaky voice said, "It's me, Henry." Amaka's chest tightened. "Why are you calling me?" "I didn't mean to disturb you," Henry said. "I just wanted to say thank you." "Thank you?" Amaka asked, confused. "Yes," he replied softly, "for leaving me, because if you didn't, I would have never learned." Amaka kept quiet. "I've been in prison for over a year now," Henry continued. "I've lost everything, but it's here I found God. I started teaching other inmates about business and faith. I want to start a new life if I ever get out." "I hope you do so," Amaka said quietly. "One more thing," Henry added. "I heard about your marriage. I'm truly happy for you. Takpo is a good man. Please don't lose him the way I lost you." Amaka hung up. She sat on the bed for a long time, staring at the wall, not because she missed Henry, but because she was finally completely healed. Meanwhile, somewhere in Ikorodu, Rebecca was still trying to rebuild her life. Her job paid just enough to feed and pay rent. She had changed her wardrobe, thrown away all her revealing clothes, and deleted every edited photo from her Instagram. She was focused now. Every Saturday, she attended youth mentorship classes at her church, where she shared her story without sugarcoating. One day, after one of those sessions, a young woman approached her. "Sister Rebecca," the girl said shyly, "your story really touched me. My older sister is about to make the same mistake. She's seeing her friend's husband." Rebecca's eyes widened. "That path leads to shame and pain," she said firmly. "Talk to her, and if she doesn't listen, pray for her." The girl nodded. That moment made Rebecca feel something she hadn't felt in a long time: value. Back in Naija, Amaka's women's group started growing. They now held monthly events in different cities. She invited guest speakers, real women with real stories. And one day, during a meeting in Lekki, Shoma walked up to her. "Amaka," she said, "what if you bring Rebecca to speak one day?" Amaka turned slowly. "Are you joking?" "No," Shoma said. "I know it's hard, but think about it. Her story could change lives." Amaka didn't reply, but that night she thought deeply about it. 2 weeks later, she sent Rebecca a message. "Would you like to speak at our next event? No drama, just truth." Rebecca couldn't believe it. Her hands shook as she typed her reply. "Yes, I'll be honored." The event was held at a community center in Surulere. The hall was packed, cameras were rolling. Rebecca walked the stage in a modest dress, her hair tied back, no makeup, no filters. She took the mic. "My name is Rebecca," she began, "and I once ruined my best friend's marriage." The hall was quiet. "I did it because I was empty, greedy, and jealous. I thought having a husband would make me powerful, but it made me miserable." Some women gasped. "I faked a pregnancy, lied to the whole country. I became famous for the wrong reasons. But when the lights faded, all I had left was shame." She paused, then looked toward Amaka. She sat in the front row. "But this woman," she said, voice breaking, "the same woman I hurt, gave me a chance to make it right." Tears rolled down cheeks in the audience. Some women stood up and clapped. Others hugged themselves. Amaka stood slowly and joined Rebecca on stage. The two former best friends hugged, not as enemies, not as strangers, but as women who had both survived something bigger than betrayal. The pressure to be someone they were not. After that event, Rebecca got invited to speak at other places. Her story became a lesson across schools and churches. She didn't become rich, but she became respected. As for Amaka, her platform exploded. She started getting invitees from outside Nigeria. Dakpo built her a mobile app for her women's group. They were now touching thousands of lives every month. One day, while in Port Harcourt for a conference, Amaka got a call from the prison headquarters. Henry had been released early for good behavior. He had started a small tailoring business inside the prison and was now opening a workshop for ex-convicts. He didn't ask to see her, he only wanted her to know that he had truly changed. Amaka wished him well and ended the call. 3 years later, Amaka and Dakpo now had a baby girl. They named her Ifeoluwa, meaning God's love. Life was not perfect, but it was peaceful. Dakpo always reminded her, peace is better than diamonds. Shama opened a beauty salon. Rebecca became a counselor at a foundation. Henry's workshop became popular for training former prisoners. And Ngozi, the former university friend who introduced Rebecca to Henry, she lost her marriage after her own husband found out she was cheating with his cousin. Everything eventually came fully circled. Amaka looked at her past and smiled, not because it was sweet, but because she had survived it. And that was the real miracle. 5 years had passed since the scandal that nearly destroyed everything. Lagos had changed, so had the people in the story. But life never stopped spinning. Amaka was now a household name across Nigeria, not because of her past, but because of the powerful way she turned pain into purpose. Her women's foundation had grown into a national movement. They were now registered in every state, working in schools, churches, and even prisons. She had written a best-selling book titled Broken but Built. It sold out in 2 weeks. She no longer had time for gossip or social media drama. Her focus was her family, Dakpo, her daughter Ifeoluwa, and her purpose. They lived in a quiet estate near Epe, away from the noise of the city. Peaceful, warm, real. One evening, after returning from a speaking event in Kaduna, Amaka sat on her balcony, sipping zobo and looking at the stars. Dapo came out and joined her, holding her hand. "You know," he said, "I still remember the first day I met you. You were broken, but fierce. I knew you had fire in you." Amaka smiled. "You gave me space to heal. That was all I needed." They sat in silence, soaking in the peace that took years to build. Suddenly, Amaka's phone buzzed. It was a message from Rebecca. It read, "I need to tell something. It's urgent. Please, can we meet tomorrow?" Amaka showed it to Dapo. "Do you think she's in trouble?" he asked. Maybe, Amaka said. Let me find out. They met the next day at a small cafe in Lekki. Rebecca looked different again, more mature, more focused, but her eyes were tired. I don't know how to say this, Rebecca began, but I need to tell you something that had been on my chest for years. Amaka braced herself. Rebecca took a deep breath. That day, the night I said I was pregnant, it wasn't just a lie. Amaka frowned. I know it was fake, you told me. Yes, Rebecca said, but there is more. I did something worse. I I sent that message to you because I wanted to break you. Amaka stayed quiet. Rebecca looked down. Ngozi told me to do it. She wanted Henry for herself. She had plans to ruin you. I didn't know at first, but when I found out, I went along with it. I thought if I helped destroy you, maybe I'll get a reward. But nothing came, just shame. Amaka's heart sank. Ngozi, again? She hated how perfect your life looked, Rebecca said. She was the one who told me Henry had secrets. She was the one who got me the gown I wore that night. Everything was planned. Amaka shook her head slowly. I always knew there was something about her. Rebecca wiped her eyes. I'm not telling you this to start drama. I want freedom. True freedom. I need you to know the full truth. Amaka stood up. Thank you for telling me. Rebecca looked up. That's it. You are not angry. I was angry for years, Amaka said calmly. But now, I'm just tired. All of you destroyed me, and yet I survived. That's enough for me. Rebecca nodded. They hugged briefly. This time, there was no bitterness, just closure. 2 weeks later, Ngozi was arrested for fraud. Apparently, her new business was a front for a criminal ring that laundered money through fake tech deals. Her face was on every blog in Nigeria. Her husband left her, and her family disowned her. Amaka saw the news and simply whispered, God fights his battles. Meanwhile, Henry's workshops for ex-convicts had turned into a foundation. He was now working with the state governments to build skill centers in different prisons. He wrote a book from inside called The Man I Used to Be. One day, he mailed a side copy to Amaka with a note. Thank you for letting me lose you, because in that loss, I found who I truly am. Amaka didn't reply, but she added his book to her office shelf. At home, Ifeoluwa was now 3 years old, playful, sweet, and full of questions. One day while playing in the living room, she asked, Mommy, who is Rebecca? I saw her name in your book. Amaka smiled. She was a friend then. She wasn't now. She's someone I learned from. Ifeoluwa nodded, satisfied. At the next women's conference, Amaka stood before 5,000 women in Abuja. She looked around the massive hall, then took the mic. Ladies, she said, there was a time I thought my life was over. Betrayed by a friend, lied to by someone I loved, publicly shamed. I wanted to disappear. The crowd went silent. But I found something powerful. I found me. I found the woman behind the tears. And that woman was stronger than I ever imagined. Cheers filled the hall. Amaka continued. Some of you are here still stuck in pain. Some of you are holding on to lies that people fed you. But I want you to know, you can rise, you can heal, you can build again. At the end, the hall gave a standing ovation. Among the crowd sat Rebecca, dressed simply, clapping with quiet pride. After the event, Amaka and Rebecca met briefly at the back. No cameras. Amaka said. Rebecca laughed. Agreed. They hugged, this time like sisters who had grown separately but healed deeply. Years later, Ifeoluwa was not 10. Amaka had written 3 books, appeared on international TV, I was nominated for a national award for women empowerment. Dakwa's tech company expanded across Africa. Rebecca had married a quiet widower with two kids. She now ran a small therapy center in Ibadan. Her past no longer haunted her. It simply reminded her how far she had come. Henry remarried too, to a prison chaplain. He now traveled across West Africa, helping men change from the inside out. And Ngozi, she served time, then disappeared from the public eye. One day, Amaka stood in front of her bathroom mirror, brushing her hair. She looked at her reflection. She smiled. Behind her were the shadows of a betrayer, but ahead of her was a light that could not be dimmed. She whispered to herself, "They thought they broke me, but I was only bending." And that was the truth. She had been cheated, she had been mocked, she had been dragged online and offline, but she had survived because she was more than a wife, more than a friend, more than a victim. She was a woman, a mother, a warrior, and that was a happy ending. Not because life became perfect, but because she refused to stay broken. The end. Moral lessons. Betrayal always comes with a price. Rebecca betrayed her best friend Amaka to chase a fake life. In the end, she lost everything: her dignity, reputation, and peace. Betrayal might feel smart in the moment, but it always leads to pain and regret. Jealousy destroys more than it builds. Rebecca was jealous of Amaka's peaceful marriage and success. Instead of focusing on her own growth, she allowed envy to control her actions. Jealousy blinds people and leads them to ruin. Fake life has an expiry date. Rebecca pretended to be pregnant, chased fame on Instagram, and lied to gain attention. But lies can only go so far. When the truth came out, she was left with shame. Living a fake life will always end in exposure and emptiness. Forgiveness is power, not weakness. Amaka forgave Rebecca, not because she forgot the pain, but because she chose peace over revenge. Forgiveness doesn't mean accepting the person back. It means freeing yourself from their control. Your pain can birth purpose. Amaka used her heartbreak and betrayal to start a women's movement that changed lives. Sometimes, the worst situation in life push you into your greatest calling. Don't waste your pain. Transform it. Real healing takes time, not noise. While Rebecca tried to fix things with fake apologies online, it was when she truly humbled herself, worked quietly, and changed her life that healing began. Growth takes silence, consistency, and honesty, not public performance. God can turn any mess into a message. Even Henry, who fell from grace, found redemption and purpose. After losing everything, no matter how far someone falls, with true repentance and change, God can rewrite their story. Your circle can make or break you. Ngozi and Rebecca both pretended to love Amaka, but they were snakes in disguise. Be careful who you call your friend. Not everyone clapping for you is clapping from their hearts. Peace is greater than riches. Dakwa wasn't rich like Henry, but he gave Amaka love, loyalty, and peace in the end. Peace is more valuable than a big house or flashy cars. A woman's worth is not tied to a man. Amaka lost her marriage but didn't lose her value. She found love again, started a movement, and raised a child in love. No relationship failure can define a strong woman who knows her worth. Please leave a comment, like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more beautiful stories like this. Thanks for watching.